Okay, so I've just melted our coconut oil, so we'll just dump this in. So this concoction here, this is just 3 different types of natural oils. Again, hemp oil, food grade olive oil, and food grade coconut oil. So these will be our oil ingredients. Okay. All right. Now comes the dangerous part. So when you're working with lye, obviously lye is a very caustic material. So you have to be careful and take a few precautions. But it's quite simple. Just as long as you follow the rules and regulations, then you'll be just fine. Let's just mix these oils up a little bit here. Okay. All right. You just take a measurement, take a temperature. Off. 79 degrees. Okay. We can warm this up a little bit. 85 degrees is preferred. So we'll just run this under put it in some warm water just to give it a little higher temperature. Certain temperatures make the saponification a little easier. So I think 85 degrees on your oils will be good. And this is called cold process soap making. There is another type of soap making, hot process, where you boil your liquids up, but this is called cold process. So I think it's a lot easier. Anyways, so we'll just warm this through a little bit.
And what was that word, saponification?
Saponification, that's a term used for the actual, the chemical reaction between the lye and the oils. The lye starts to interact with the oils and starts to break down the fats, and that's what makes it into a soap. So once the chemical reaction starts, that's when your oils, like you wouldn't want to wash yourself with just oil, it'd be kind of nasty, wouldn't it? So, but when it's interacted with the lye chemical, then it becomes soap. So this is why it's been done for hundreds and thousands of years. So, but a good thing to remember when you're doing your lye mixtures, have some ventilation. So I like to open up the window. You don't want to breathe this stuff in directly. Right. Okay. This is our lye powder. Okay. All right. So I have my measurements all written down here, and what I need to do now is to suit up. So we're going to set our scale to ounces. Get down both. We need the animals out of here. So can we hold, please? No. I'd like to put the animals out. Let's get the animals out.
Hold this.
Okay.
You can talk about that.
Okay, so our lye solution. Obviously you don't want to be doing this around pets, children, and you do need some type of fresh air, ventilation. You don't want to breathe this stuff in directly.
Can you open the other window?
No, this one window's fine. So it can be harmful.
Okay.
What do you do with the dogs?
Let them out.
Oh, okay, all right. So when we're doing this, you need to put gloves on, preferably a long sleeve shirt, because if it gets on your skin, it can burn you severely. Likewise, if it gets in the eye, it can blind you. So you've got to take some precautions.
I'm okay over here.
Okay. So our recipe calls for it's tough to wear glasses on top of glasses. There we go. All right. Our lye solution calls for 7.82 ounces. It's very important to get, once you have your calculations done, which I get off the internet, it's very important to try to stay as close as possible to the numbers that you're given. So we need 7.82 ounces. And we're almost there. 7. And the lye calculation is critical, because if you get that wrong, then your soaps are not going to gel and solidify and soapophonicate. Okay. And almost there. Another. That's pretty darn close. Okay. You always want to put the lid back on your lye. I'm going to put this little lid on here until we're ready to use it. Okay, put that aside. Okay, now we need to measure. Cancel that out. Now we need to measure our straight from the farm goat milk soap. Goat milk.
Now, any comments you want to add? We're trying to come up with a name for our new soap label. So any suggestions or comments, please add them. And don't forget to subscribe and like.
Okay, so our recipe calls for 17.50 ounces of liquid. So there's 9.
What are you on? It's hard to read on an angle.
There's 16.35, 17.30. Let's see. That's just a little bit over. Let's take that one. Looks a little smaller. 17.30, which I think should be close enough. Pop this back in the fridge. Okay. Now comes the exciting part. Just take these gloves off for a second, because I'm not working with the lye just yet. So we're going to put our milk in a mixing bowl.
Which you conveniently obviously froze.
Stainless steel. It's very important to use stainless steel or glass. You can use some type of plastics. Definitely not aluminum, because the lye will have an adverse reaction to anything aluminum. So if you're going to use these, it has to be preferably stainless steel. So we'll put our safety equipment back on. Okay. And never ever put your liquids into the lye, because it'll bubble up and splash and cause all kinds of problems. So always add your lye to your liquid, whether it be distilled water or milk. The reason I'm using ice cubes is because this will start to react and get very, very hot. So if you put it in just like liquid, it can scorch the milk. So that's why we like to use the ice cubes. Okay, so it regulates the temperature. So here we go. Okay. Let's see. So you take a little spatula and you start adding very small increments. And then just stir it around, and you'll see that very quickly it will start to melt the ice cubes. Okay. You can use, like I say, you could use water to get your lye solution, but then it wouldn't be goat milk soap. So I like to use the goat milk that we get from our precious little goats here on the farm, on our little mini farm. And I think it makes a nicer soap. It feels good on the skin, and it's good for you. This process will take a few minutes. So we're not in a hurry. Like I say, very important to not breathe these fumes in directly. So that's why I got the window open. Ice cubes are starting to get a little soft and mushy. Once the reaction starts, it won't take very long. Now, I'm not an expert at this by any means. This is only my second batch of soaps, but I've done my research, and the first batch came out pretty good. So with this batch, we're going to be adding some natural oil fragrances as well. So the first batch I made was just natural, no fragrances, just a natural soap. So we're just going to add a little scent with this one. And as you can see, the ice cubes are starting to dissolve.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get our lye solution. But with this process, just take your time, be careful. You don't want any accidents, you don't want no splashing. So that's why you need to cover up any skin that's exposed. You do not want to get this stuff on you. It will strip your skin right off.
Remind me not to use the little container next time I want to make
No,
some pudding.
I'll wash this. Well, this is now. Yeah, you do not want to commingle equipment that you use for soaping with food. Okay, so once you use a bowl for soaping, then that's what it's going to be used for. Don't try and, you know, scramble some eggs in it tomorrow or whatever. It's just not a good practice. So soap only. Okay, we'll put the lid back on that, and we'll wash all this stuff out when we're done. And you can always use a light vinegar solution as well to neutralize any lye and stuff that's left over. So okay, so that the ice is almost dissolved. Now we're going to take the temperature. This should start to heat up, and we'll take the temperature of both the oils and the lye solution, and they need to be within 10 degrees of each other. That's looking good. Scrape any stuff that's stuck on the side, scrape that back into the mixture. Okay.
Let me hand you this one.
Yeah. So let's see. It's tough to do this with gloves on. Off. On. So you can see this is already heating up. .88 degrees. Okay, paper towel. This is 91 degrees. So we'll take the oil out. The oil's at a good temperature right now. Could you move that recipe for me, please? Okay. So there we go. Let's take a.
And you want it ideally at what temperature?
Between 85 and 90. I think we're good. The lye solution was at 88 degrees. I do need to put, I'm just going to take my gloves off for a second. I'm not working directly with the lye right now, so I'll just take this off. A little blender. You do need one of these stick blenders if you're going to be making soap. It's almost impossible to do it by hand, like a whisker or something like that, so you do need one of these. Okay. Now the fun part. It's where we make soap. So what we do need to do is you've got to be very careful at this point. Okay, give yourself some room. Yeah. It's a good idea to put your little spatula in there. So when we pour our liquid into this, we're going to run it down the shaft of the of the spoon, just so stop any splashing. Nice and easy.
It's a neat technique.
Yeah, as if you're trying to plop it straight into the oil, it could splash up on you or on something surrounding, and you don't want this lye solution anywhere but inside the bowl. This is just a little safety precaution.
I like that technique.
Okay, and we can take our little spatula, and because the measurements are so critical, you don't want to leave anything behind in these bowls. It's all very important to get everything that you mix up into your solution. Every little drop counts. Okay, we'll pop this into the sink. We can rinse that off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to switch gloves real quick. I'm going to put my, because these are very good for when you're mixing up the solution, but they're kind of clunky. So I'm going to put my little nitrile gloves on. I don't think you'd see a brain surgeon working with these type of gloves on, but these gloves maybe. So, again, we're still being cautious. Okay, one thing I wanted to do was get ready to add our oils also. Now, yesterday, I need to take this little stopper off if I can. There we go. All right. So I'll just give it a stir by hand to begin with. And then we'll put our blender in. Now what you want to do when you put this into your liquid, you'll have a little air pocket on here, so you don't want air bubbles in your solution. So when you do, just get the air, pop it a few times to get the air bubbles out, and then just start off slowly. Equipment malfunction. Now you'll start to see it change colour and consistency. I think we can add our fragrance in now. This is about 2 ounces.
What is it today?
This is frankincense and myrrh, and this is all natural fragrance. Okay, good. You know, it's not going to affect the skin. And what we're looking for is when it turns to a consistency that tells you that it's totally mixed. It's called a trace. Trace is, now see, it's not tracing yet because it's still very, very liquid, but when it starts to solidify, you'll see a little trickle, and it'll make a lot, like a little trail on your in your batter. It doesn't take very long. But you want everything mixed up. All your liquids need to be totally mixed up together. Let's try a different speed. We're starting to get what they call a light trace. If you can see it leaves like a little trail on there, like the fluid. Now we have trace. That's a pretty good trace. So you can see it leaves a little, like a little, the liquid is sitting on top. You get little.
It looks thick like pudding.
Yes, it's like a consistency, almost like a custard or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we are good to pour.
That's exciting.
So let's just pop this in there. Okay. So we're going to do, I think we'll do the larger mold first. Just remove this. So these are our soap molds. Just like a little neoprene. Not neoprene. What do they call this? It's like
rubber.
Some kind of rubber. Anywho, especially made for soaps. So now we've got to very gently, very slowly, no rush, just pour our solution into the mold.
You have to work fast because it gets thick.
Yeah. Should give you enough time to work it though. So.
Can I let him in? Let's wait.
I'm gonna let's sit him aside. Let's do the other mold. Now my calculations were correct. It should be just enough soap to fill both these up to the desired height.
Now, as we mature in learning the process, we wanted to add some color and some decorative toppings.
Made a mess. And the batter is pretty forgiving, so it's not like you need, 20 seconds to work it all. It's gonna stay
Palatable.
liquid like this for a while, so it gives you enough time to work it. We want to try and use everything that we've made. Don't want to waste anything. I think this batch was pretty much perfect. The last batch I made, which was the first batch I made, was it was a little on the light side. I could have made another extra few ounces. That's what I did. I just made this batch about 4.5 ounces more. Where did
Can you
that go?
get that side?
That went on the bit went on the floor, but
You
it's
get
not
it.
like that. Okay, let's pop this in the circle. So. Smooth this in.
Can we tell them how many ounces of milk we got today? Puddin gave us almost 2 cups, right?
Yeah, so we've been, from our beautiful little goats, they had their babies in April and May, and we have 3 does, and we had a total of 4 little babies. And now the babies are pretty much all weaned, and so now we're fortunate enough to be able to milk the girls, and we're getting a couple of cups of milk a day, fresh goat milk. So this enables us to make our wonderful, luscious soap.
And you had a glass, right?
Oh, I tell you what, if you've never tried goat milk, you should give it a go, because it's absolutely delicious and very good for you. Okay.
No, you're trying to fill all the pockets and
Okay, so got a few taps.
yeah.
So now we can get creative, and you can put all kinds of little swirly things in there. So
Oh, I got the spoon for you thinking you were going to use it.
well, I'll try this today. Of course, when you're using colours, you can mix these colours up and make just a wonderful design
That'll be next.
in your soap.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. So we'll just do a little funky swirly design. I like that. Kind of cool.
Can you hold this with that hand?
I'm holding.
The phone.
Where are you going?
I was going to get that done. It's okay, keep going.
Okay. So you don't want to leave too many air pockets. So just work it around.
That looks like rose petals there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this little design here.
I wish we had something to sprinkle on.
Okay, onto the other one.
You're fine.
I mean, there's no right way, no wrong way to do this. You can just it's totally up to you. This is how you customize your own soap. And again, we're just learning. We're just new at this thing. And once you have all your ingredients and your equipment, it's a worthwhile pastime.
Maybe go one down in the middle.
Oh. This is just a piece of dowel rod that I grabbed from the shed this morning. I just shaved the end down, made it a taper. You can use chopsticks or whatever you got on hand. Again, make sure don't use aluminum.
I've seen some people use a spoon.
Spoon, you can use it. On the last batch I made, it was with a spoon.
That's what I grabbed.
And I kind of like this design.
Okay.
What do you think, Lovey?
Stay tuned for part 2 and we'll show you the finished
Now,
product.
what you have to do now is just let this set. Some people put it in the refrigerator, but it needs to set for at least 24 hours. After the 24 hours, you can remove it from the mold, and that's when you can cut your soap. So
Stay tuned.
we'll get back with you tomorrow when it's time to remove our soap from the mold. Bye.